wanted to do something very, very simple. And that was probably the first thing that came up, something really simple that could, and this was also in the early 90s, after the whole 80s period, so it was a whole sort of focus on something much more pure, like the simple basic needs. It was like taking away all the unnecessary riff-raff around it and just doing something very, very pure. And that was my main inspiration. And then I also saw women or girlfriends of mine that I respected and that I liked their own style, and I thought that's the kind of woman I want to do clothes for. So I had this idea of other women, but also using myself as a sort of as a reference as well. So it was something that was very close to me, but was also looking at others. The way I work with Filippa K is that I'm constantly on the outside, and at the same time I'm using myself as a projection for the brand. So I'm right in the middle of the heart of the creation of the brand, and at the same time I'm looking at myself doing that. To be able to distance myself is also very important. I would say Filippa K is more of a lifestyle than just a fashion brand, definitely, because it's more about looking at the needs of how we live, and also maybe the whole atmosphere and the whole setup around a life, and the needs of the modern woman or the modern man within that life. And I see myself and the brand as sort of like helping people who are on the move and who are in the middle of doing the stuff that they do in their life. I would love customers to be able to say that they feel that they can feel beautiful, that they can feel comfortable, that they can feel confident in our clothes. The basic core of Filippa K is what I would call wardrobe essentials. The everyday, necessary clothes that you need for your everyday life. It's basically if you didn't have any clothes and you needed to build up a wardrobe with few pieces that were versatile, functional, but worked in lots of different combinations and for different occasions, with a perfect modern fit and quality, that's basically what wardrobe essentials is. And I really feel that my heart is in those wardrobe essentials. That's really the whole start of the brand, and that's really the platform that we stand on, and we have a lot of legitimacy in that, I feel, and I'm very proud of that. I've always wanted to make clothes that can last several seasons, definitely. The fashion world is a bit different from the furniture world because it changes much more quickly, and there's small adjustments, the actual fit and the details and so on that do change over time. But to be able to make clothes that definitely last like for several seasons, I think the whole wardrobe essentials is that you should be able to wear those clothes for a couple of years without feeling out of fashion, because they're so pure and simple. It doesn't change as fast as people actually believe, I think. From the start, it was more about the woman. And I think that's very much because I felt very personal about, I think I used myself as a reference as well, and it was easier for me to think about the woman. I often see this woman that's quite sort of passionate about what she does, and she's sort of passionately busy in her life. And she doesn't really want to spend too much time just thinking about her own look. But she does care about how she looks. It's that sort of balance between those two things. And I think I'm inspired by women who are strong and independent, but don't lose their femininity. I think that's always been a fascination for me, how you can mix those two things. I do actually think that Scandinavian woman is a very good role model for a lot of, for women around the world, definitely. Because the Scandinavian woman is probably a bit more, has come to terms with different aspects of her modern life, with her career and having kids and having a relationship and all the sort of desires and dreams. I think the Scandinavian woman has been able to balance those in a more, is further ahead of reaching the ideal balance, even if it's always a very, very difficult equation. I see the Filippa K man as a man who is relaxed and confident. A man who is at ease with being a man, but who is also open and curious about himself and about life. And this is a very important, it's also a man who can meet this independent woman and who can be on equal terms. And also our style is very, in many ways, very unisex. But it's actually the shape and the cut and the fit that shows the femininity or the masculinity. And I like those contrasts. I like women's wear that can have a masculine inspiration and orientation, but then have a very feminine cut, because the sensuality comes out very much in how the clothes actually fit. There's something about that energy of being, of movement and being dynamic that has always appealed to me. And at the same time, there's something very restful and calm about the actual design. And that's the meeting point between those two contrasts creates a whole world that fascinates me. The personality of somebody wearing our clothes, when there's this sort of spirit that comes into it, and then everything comes alive. First and foremost, they're tactile, something you feel. And I think a lot of the sense of sensuality also comes in the actual touch of the fabrics, whether it's a silky, soft feel or a hairy, woolly feel. There is something essential to the actual feel of it. I find inspiration in lots of different environments. Definitely in nature and also in an urban environment. I think in nature there's the purity and the calmness, and this is also very Scandinavian. The yearning to sort of, and the solitude of being in contact with nature is something that's very, that nourishes me very much in what I do. I have a real love for this kind of open spaces that give a sense of freedom. I think freedom is also a very strong motivation I have in what I do, because I want to feel free. I want to feel free to think up my own ideas. I want to feel free in the way I work. I want to feel free in the way I choose to live my life. And I need to be reminded of this freedom, because otherwise I get stuck. And in that sense, just being in nature, it just gives me back that energy of freedom.